Wanted to start a band from pretty much the first time ever listening to records. Like with my old man. My old man grew up listening to music, playing music from an early age, and then obviously got us into it as kids. And the second you start to learn an instrument, if you have that creative mindset, you really want to start doing something more with it. So as soon as I could pretty much play any instrument, I was like, I need to start writing tunes.
Never really thought about why I wanted to be in a band. I think it was just the natural progression of things. Started playing music when I was pretty young, played guitar when I was a little kid, and then my parents bought me a drum set, and then I bought a bass maybe in junior high and just started playing it. And then I think after a while you just need to play in a band. You need to play with other people. There's only so much fun you can have playing with yourself.
Originally I wanted to be in a band to get girls because I was in high school, kind of fat, didn't look all that good, but I think I was 16 or whatever and wanted to play drums my whole life actually, so I bought a kit, started playing with some friends, and it ended up not being about the girls, like instantly. I loved it from the second I hit the drums, so from the point on it was mainly about the music and having a good time, really. The band met all at the Center for Arts and Technology. We all took the audio engineering course there. Dan and Dean ended up being instructors, whereas I was the technical services kind of guy. There's a joke going around through the band that I'm the janitor of this technology school, but I am not the janitor. I'm going to set that straight. I may have mopped once or twice.
He doesn't want me to tell you this, but he was a janitor.
The band started acoustic, right? They came back from that tour, I heard their album, and I was like, this needs drums. So I kind of cornered Dan one day and said, hey Dan, I'm going to play drums for the band. And he just kind of dumbfounded. He's like, oh, okay. So we went to, had a jam with them, and everything worked out ever since.
Down on your knees, from inside you're screaming, please, please, please. I got you now, I got you now, I got you now, screaming, please, please, please,
yeah. My idols are pretty much anybody that is doing it for a living, you know, like a great example from when I was a kid, I listened to Bon Jovi all the time.
No Effects and Rancid.
Guns N' Roses from 1986, like as far as full bands go, and Motley Crue because they lived that rock and roll lifestyle that I wanted to live when I was younger and still kind of do.
I created the band name quite a while ago. There's been a whole bunch of different reasons for making it that name. Like we used to drink a lot on White Ave when I lived in White Ave in Edmonton, and we got a nickname called the White Knights, just from just walking around White Ave and drinking. And so I wanted to call a project something like that, and ended up calling it Malibu Knights because it didn't sound local. White Ave is the name of the avenue, so we called it White Knights, and then Malibu Knights was just like, oh, it doesn't really sound local. And then it's kind of moved on from that to the adventure rock style things, the Malibu being the lighter part of life, and then the Knights being the more intense, you know, the working hard and the fighting side of life.
Best memory of on tour or playing with other bands. We played with a few really great bands actually. Like we played with the Econoline Crush and played with Biff Naked, which was really awesome. Then of course playing with Kid Rock and Bon Jovi was unbelievable. I don't think anything as far as doing something in a band or playing music at a venue can top playing at Commonwealth Stadium with Bon Jovi and Kid Rock yet.
We've partied a lot for 24 hours and stuff like that on the road, which is always a good time. You don't really remember it though, so I don't know, maybe something happened in that time frame that I liked, I'm not sure.
But just the best experience is really just hanging out afterwards. Like, of course playing is the best time ever, but hanging out with people afterwards and just having some drinks and shooting the shit is a blast.
now again you're running out, and I know we're falling out, and your walls are coming down, and to the ground you're beginning to fall apart.
When Dad first told us we were going to open up for Kid Rock and Bon Jovi, I didn't believe him, because usually every time Dan talks to me, the first thing he says to me is a lie, which is true. It is. So I didn't believe him, and neither did Rod. And apparently he found out the weekend before he was able to tell us. They called him and told him that we had won the competition, or the contest, and we were opening for Bon Jovi, and they later added Kid Rock to the bill. And then they told him, after telling him that you can't tell anyone, not even the other members of your band or any of your family, until the official press release comes out. So he had to wait like 3 or 4 days, I think it was the long weekend, before he could even tell us. So he went to Vancouver until he found out, and then came back.
Yeah, all the hours that you put into it, and then you finally get a chance like that, it feels really, really good to have the opportunity and to be rewarded from putting all the hours, like the 10 years of playing live music and writing your own songs and traveling around and making no money and all this, and then they call you and say, hey, do you want to play in the stadium with one of the biggest bands that's ever played music? And you're like, well, I can probably free up my time for that gig.
And about 9:30, 10 a.m., I get a phone call from Dan, and it's a conference call with Dan and Dean. And Dan says, hey, what are you doing on July 15th? I said, I don't know, like, what am I doing? He says, well, you better book the day off, because we're opening for Bon Jovi and Kid Rock. And I lost my mind. I was on the phone. I just yelled, holy fuck, are you serious? And I was at work, so clearly I'm not allowed to swear at the top of my lungs. But I don't know, man, I was floating the rest of the day. I had tingles all over, and I was just walking around. I didn't get a single bit of work done that day. I just walked around, just looked around like, screw this place. Like,
In her hand, a piece of her to remember.
Some of the best bands that we played with have been obviously Kid Rock and Bon Jovi, and any of the bigger bands, like we played with Conline Crush was really good, Biff Naked was really, really good, and then our local favorites being like Devin and Kevin, were influenced by them just by playing with them, hanging out with them.
We played with Gob a few months back, and they've been one of my favorite bands from growing up, from junior high and from high school, because I was really into the punk then. And that was really fun to meet them and play with them and hang out with them.
Wednesday Morning Blues. They're from Edmonton, and I think they're a 5 or 6 piece band now. And I don't know, they seem to have a lot of camaraderie in their band, you know. And one guy stands on the band amazing, just smiling and playing the whole time, just never stops grooving.
And as far as us not giving up, I don't think we ever really will. I wouldn't even say we're really trying, we're just doing it now, right? And we're gonna do it until someone says we shouldn't anymore.
Everyone says people just do it for the money. Anyone that's done it knows you don't do it for the money, because there isn't any.
What could be, and just obviously the love of music is a huge one. Like, I never want to stop playing drums. Like, it's the most fun thing in the world for me.
These 2 camera angles make me feel like I'm hosting Punk'd though.
What's your best on tour experience? Can be like actually playing or partying, any kind of crazy story.
Best tour experience, I think, or best band experience. It's all of it, doesn't really matter.
Anything, man, just
Okay.
like a crazy story.
There's one I can't tell.
Well, of course.
Oh, I know. There's a few I'm not allowed to tell.
It's always a gong show of a good time, so every day is another adventure.